Perez. Mr. Porshafi, please. Followed by Shane Johnston. Luca Palladino. Mr. Porshafi.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the time that you gave me. I understand that not long ago there was a motion passed at the City of Montreal demanding the Minister of the Transport Quebec to go ahead and reinstate the Del Parc on Saint-Jacques to south of the borough on Grignon. I'd like to know what your borough has done in that regard, because it's so important to have that bridge that will eliminate the timing for the people that they want from your neighborhood, Westmount, NDG, Montreal West, Hampstead, to cross just with the 800 meters bridge to go to the Grignon to see the movie or to the shopping center, instead of going around for 6-7 kilometers, polluting the air and wasting the time. Another question that I have, it's regarding the Saint-Jacques, which is almost the same repeating question that I have because I cannot digest this. Saint-Jacques, it's the commercial industrial zone in the area, and it's polluting Saint-Jacques escarpment. It has no value to nobody's life. Public consulting has been done in 2012. It recommends to improve the quality of the life of the people and change the zoning to the residential and light commercial. And you said that you had postponed this for the later date. What is such an important thing that we have to change this zoning, at least to protect the area of the Saint-Jacques? I pass in the area on the march. These are the garbage from the old tires, from the old dishwashing machine, and you name it. People from the community, they go and clean as much as they can. I contacted your chief of staff by the email, and he had responded to me. He goes and he regularly checked it. Before I come this afternoon, I went and I take the picture from the same place. I didn't have to go to print it. If you want, I could print it and email it to you. The same garbage, it's remained there. And it's not very hard to understand for your engineer and all that. When you drop oil or any chemical on the top of the hill, it will go downhill. It will not go upward. And this is the problem that is in Saint-Jacques. When the city is going to take the real proper measure on this?
Okay. So, pardon me. Mr. Porshafi, just a correction. The Del Parc doesn't connect, never intended to connect the top of the falaise with Grignon. We need to understand. Mr. Porshafi, you had your time.
Sure.
I would appreciate having mine. The Del Parc was intending to link Pullman at the base of the falaise with the Chine Canal. And the City of Montreal very clearly supports the Del Parc. The Mayor of Montreal supports the Del Parc. He's raised the issue with the Transport Minister. I've regularly raised the issue with our MNA, Kathleen Weil, the MNA for Saint-Henri, Sainte-Anne, Dominique Anglade. So our efforts are continual to try and convince the government of Quebec to reinstitute the Del Parc. So everyone is working in the same direction on this. With regard to, you mentioned two things about Saint-Jacques. I appreciate you can't digest the answer, but it's the same answer, Mr. Porshafi. The consultation done by the OCPM in 2012 was what we call an upstream consultation, and consultation en amont, on an eventual PPU for the St. Raymond's district. It was very clearly thought that with everything that was happening with the Turcotte interchange, with the demolition and reconstruction of the Saint-Jacques overpass, with the arrival of the Glen site of the MUHC, that we needed to rethink our approach to the PPU. Our services have relaunched a PPU, a Programme Particulier d'Urbanisme. In the Sud-West, worked on a PPU for 4 years. 4 years, yeah. Mr. Porshafi. Sud-West borough. I don't know if that means anything to people in this room. 4 years. So our services are working on a PPU plan. There will be another mandatory consultation by the OCPM if the PPU is adopted as a projet by this council. And so that's the orientation that we've taken. It's the same answer that I've given you in private. It's the same answer I've given you in public 3 or 4 times. I appreciate you can't digest it, but sometimes answers that I give seem to be undigestible, and we just all have to live with that, and I accept responsibility for that. Just quickly, Mr. Plante, with regard to the sort of policing of the Upper Falaise, which is in our area, I know that we sent out warnings to every business on the Falaise, warning them that they had to take all measures to prevent dumping. A correction, it's not my chief of staff who goes regularly to verify. We send inspectors. So, Mr. Plante, would you just very quickly talk about our efforts to reduce dumping from the Upper Falaise?
Yeah, 2 things. Actually, we sent some inspectors during winter time because we had a problem with owners pushing snows on the Falaise. So that was one thing that we did. We also, at fall time, and couple of weeks ago, went back to talk to them about not throwing garbage on the Falaise. So if you have pictures or anything like that, you can send it to my attention. And but we're there very often. But we have to change mentality. Mentalities that has been like that for years and years. But the inspectors are there, I can assure you.
Do you have a second comment?
I would like to speak.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. McQueen. Sure.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to protest against your disingenuous comments, Mr. Copeman. If the Dow Park, the concept of the Dow Park, as voted in City Council, our motion put forward by President Moyle, and also as espoused by all the groups behind the Dow Park, so this is not just Peter McQueen or President Moyle speaking, it's the Conseil régional de l'environnement, these are cyclist groups from all over the city, is that it is a link from St. Jacques Street to the canal. And if you don't think that's true, I find that disturbing. And I'm wondering what exactly you think the Dow Park is. Just a bridge from nowhere to nowhere? I mean, it's going to go over the highway from Pullman just to then be up against the old highway? I mean, an honest question, what did you think the Dow Park was?
I think
if it wasn't going from St. Jacques to the canal?
Well, the Dow Park, as we know, as it was supposed to be funded by the government of Quebec, did not include from the Upper Falaise down. Mr. McQueen, I'm surprised you don't know that.
Okay, well,
but I've said before that I'm prepared, as the executive committee member responsible for urban planning, and as the mayor of Côte-Neige-NDG, to look at how people get from the top of the Falaise to the bottom. But to suggest that that's integrally part of the Dow Park project, I'm surprised that you don't understand that. Mr. Purshafi, go ahead.
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead, and then we'll move on. So this is your second intervention, Mr. Purshafi. Go ahead.
Thank you for it. I'd like to make a recommendation. I believe that City of Montreal has a design and a different borough that have some kind of competition that I read about it, that this first phase is free and the second phase they have a budget that they pay for it. We are so fortunate in here. We have so many newcomers, and if you just read the news that the 3rd largest immigrant that they come into Montreal are from Iran, and the people from Iran, they don't come by the boat. They come educated and they come with the money. And we are fortunate in NDG that house many of them in NDG. And they are willing to help. These people are new here, they are looking for a job. Why don't we make some kind of budget to put the competition and see the recommendation that they give for the changes in the new street or the new places that you want to change? Take 2 minutes. Anybody could look at the internet and look for the nature bridge. See what they have done in Tehran or in Seoul or the other places. How to connect